Hello, hello, hello. Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you very much for connecting with us today. Can you hear me? How's my audio?
Your audio is 100% good, coach. Thank you. Thanks
Okay,
for having me here.
beautiful, beautiful. And we want to apologize to everybody here who just connected. We were having technical issues.
Absolutely.
Uh,
I am so sorry. Honestly, I mean, this is all about this technology. Sometimes we have it, we think we master it, but just at the last minute, we have a couple of issues happening here and there, and which is beyond our control. I am sincerely sorry. I apologize for the lateness.
oh, not a
Well,
problem.
hopefully we can have an amazing session.
Not a problem. But so, Juliana, I think people on the audience are saying they can hardly hear you. So, but
Oh,
let me do a double check on my end. Michael Collins,
okay.
can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up, please, if you could hear me on your end. Okay, you could hear me. Right, let's see if Juliana can help. Maybe you might increase the volume a little bit on your device. That might help. Okay.
Yes, it's all up.
All right, let's see. Try again.
Can you hear me? Can you all hear me now?
Yes, if you stay like this, we can all hear you. Thank you very
Okay.
much. Right, beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you very much for being here. So I know we were meant to start about 60 minutes ago. A lot of time has gone by, but we want to get started immediately. So why don't we start with telling us what you've been up to recently in the technology world? What have you been up to? Share with us, please, if you don't mind.
Wow. It's been an amazing journey, joining all the tech gurus in this technology world. Um, Growing up, I mean, it was never some kind of orientation I anticipated, being into, but the more we get to move into places, you meet different people, the rate at which the world is evolving and changing, that has kind of diverted some of our orientations, and here I am now into this technology world, which I had never anticipated or thought I would be in it today. But it's definitely a pleasant place to be. If anyone who wants to give a try, go ahead. It's amazing. It is. There are so many things we are lacking that we think probably we know, but once you get into it, you begin to notice or you discover there's several things within this technology world that it's very essential and important for us to to know, so we can have a very easy daily life, or you know we can have easy communications with one another as well. We won't feel left out, because we do not know one or two things about this technology world. So definitely thrilled, and I'm happy to have embraced it, and I'm coiling into it, and it's been amazing so far. I can't hear you, coach. I lost I lost the
Exciting. I'm so sorry about that. Thank you for sharing that. And that's very, very exciting to know. But that's
thing.
technology in general. So now let's come to transformation. Most of us here are transformation professionals, and we are really dying to understand how you are bringing about change and transformation in the organization that you are serving. Tell us a little about that.
Awesome. Well, this concept about change and transformation, it's one that has been really challenging to come by. With when you're dealing with several people from different cultural backgrounds or ethnicities who haven't yet, understood the concept of change, of dynamism in life, it's always very difficult, to walk them through to kind of impact certain knowledge or rules or principles or any form of guidance to them. Transformation or change has been one of those domains within my career as an agilist that has been very difficult to come by, I've had several people within my Scrum teams, pushing back immensely, on the concept of change, of transformation. Most people are so much, comfortable within their current situation, their current environment, the current knowledge they know, the ways they do things, such that when anyone comes with any kind of change or, just some kind of way for them to improve, it becomes like an attack. And what we receive, on the environment as Scrum Masters is this pushback, in several forms. But one thing that, strengthens me as some of those techniques that we learned from, Scrum gurus like you, Coach. I remember several times me reaching out to you, bringing up a certain situation, explaining how should I address this? Should I go with plan B or plan A? And then I was very helpful. You provided me with insights. I wouldn't forget other coaches on this platform, Coach Bonita, IK, and I think this is one of the techniques that has really helped me thrive through this transformation process. And again, without me forgetting, wherever we may be practicing, this whole Scrum framework, it is equally very essential. And this is what equally helped me. I reached out to my peers within my setup, my other colleagues, my work Scrum Masters, to equally seek their attention. I made sure before I ever bring up something to my manager, I have equally, reached out to my peers within my work environment to get their perspective or to know how they approach such situations when it comes to transformation or change, being impacted within our teams. So, I mean, I could be talking over, but Coach, over to you.
Beautiful. That's exciting. Transformation
Thank
is
you.
hard. Transformation is hard. Everybody who has gone through change, myself inclusive, has found it very difficult to change. Changing anything. If you want to try as an example, let's say you are brushing, you are right-handed, and you want to change to left, you'd see how difficult it is to make that transition. Now, when we ask people in organizations to go from one way of working to a new way of working, they also experience that resistance as well to change. And I'm glad that you are saying that you have dealt with those kinds of resistance, but I'd like to know a little more. If you were to go back, for example, to when you started your career many, many years ago, what were some of the challenges that you faced as a professional? What mistakes did you make when you started many years ago? How did you overcome some of those challenges dealing with those kinds of individuals, including yourself, that may be resistant to change? How did you handle it? Walk us through memory lane.
Good one, good question. Yes, I would say back in the days when I started within my very first organization, that was within the telecommunications setup, I did experience a couple of these transformation setbacks. I, for one, wasn't mentally, how will I put it? I wasn't yet in that mental state of mind to, embrace so much changes. So much so that sometimes I myself was pushing back, from agile consultant at the time. And the main thing was because I felt like the whole bulk of learning, different concepts, we are going in as professionals and we feel like we are masters of this thing, we know it. And then when you go to, certain agile environment, you begin to realize like they are not really practicing agile. Well, they are practicing agile their own way. So one thing we must first understand on this platform is agile isn't represented the same way in every company. every organization or enterprise has their lines of products, and so the way each and every one of them represent or welcome agile or practice agile within their organizations is very different. And so if we as scrum masters are going within these organizations with our knowledge as scrum masters, feeling like we are going to just implement what we know and this is just what it has to be, people have to work according to the books, that's false. Each company or organization has certain rules, guidance, and principles that we equally have to learn and follow the way they want us to. And so I was faced in the past with, this situation whereby it was just a lot of material for me to, restart over. It's like I was, learning agile all over again. And it's like the knowledge I had coming in was like, I should put that aside and study this company's, agile mindset to be able to equally, impact my team, educate and coach my team to follow these new principles and guidance they wanted us to follow. So at some point, I had to reach out to my manager to let him know this was overwhelming. I didn't feel like the approach was right for us. I felt like we should go step by step. They should take the first phase of whatever was of high priority this same knowledge to them. So we can now bring this knowledge we've acquired as Scrum Masters and impact our team. And we don't just go, to just impact or bring this or coach our teams directly. We have to first study the room. We have to be able to have mastered, to have gained trust from our teams and devise a technique on how to approach them, because I did have pushbacks from my team who felt like it was a waste of time. They already have a set rules of working. They already mastered the principles, and they weren't really understanding why the company wanted them to adopt this agile mindset of working. And so I needed to take my time. I reached out to their manager and my manager to explain to them, well, this is gonna take some time. However, I equally need your support, to kind of coach your team members and let them know this is essential. It's for the good of the company and not for an individual. And so it took us a while for me to like gain the trust of the team and actually set up sessions for us to walk through these changes. And before I noticed it, everyone there was a positive buy-in from everyone, and I had people asking questions and after some time, I even had people coming up with, certain research they've read from other websites or reached out to some of their co-workers or friends working from different environments to equally share their experience. But it was a difficult thing to come by. We were still in the phase of that transformation because transformation does take time to come by. So, but that was just a little bit of experience that I remember, Coach, that I can share right now. But it really wasn't easy. But one thing I learned from that was I myself needed to, embrace change at all time. I need to be agile. I need to be dynamic. I need to portray those qualities so that people or my team can equally see that and follow me, trust me, just so everything can work smoothly.
Beautiful. So what you just shared is very insightful. Now, some of the professionals here are working professionals. We have on this audience, we have agile coaches, scrum masters, release training engineers, program managers, product managers. Everybody here, and they are really interested in seeing the life of a scrum master, what a scrum master really does, and how a scrum master adds value in the organization they serve. And here at the Glappy Village, one of the things that we are really interested in as transformation professionals is value. So now, you being a scrum master, in your organization, leading and supporting teams, if somebody would ask the question, hey, what does a scrum master even do for our team? You know, how does a scrum master bring value to the organization? How would you answer that question?
Awesome. Now, a Scrum Master brings value in a sense where the Scrum Master is seen as that light within the team. The Scrum Master is the one who brings that education. The Scrum Master champions the process. The Scrum Master makes sure that the process moves smoothly. The Scrum Master is ensuring or has to ensure, while working closely with the product owner, that the product owner is prioritizing his or her backlog appropriately in order to enable the team work on the prioritized issues and produce value. So the team is responsible for producing value. Why the Scrum Master, we are championing the process. How do we make the process work? We start by, reviewing all the Scrum processes, beginning from the daily Scrum. We make sure the team is always present during the daily Scrum to provide their progress. They are sharing their progress to the team. We make sure if there are any impediments, any blockers, or just anything whatsoever that prevents the team from performing or producing value at the end, we step in as scrum masters to alleviate that blocker or impediment, and we do so by engaging the team, making them causing them to be courageous and open enough, be transparent to everyone, to show, to tell, to explain the problems they are facing so that that issue could be resolved. Now, if that issue could be resolved within the team, we now open the floor for conversation. Now, each and every one can chip in. However, if those issues or impediments or any blocker could be resolved by third party or someone out of the team, we step in as Scrum Masters. We follow up on those blockers and impediments and make sure they are resolved so that at the end of every iteration or sprint, we are able to deliver valuable products. Now, as Scrum Masters, we have to make sure the team is practicing or we're making sure all the Scrum values are being practiced by the team, which is focus, openness, respect, courage, and commitment. So we're making sure that the team is guided in such a way, in such an agile mindset that enables them to produce quality products at the end. So we are essentially those bus drivers, that will, help the Scrum team to produce valuable products, gain quick or fast feedbacks from their customers, make whatever changes that has to be made on time and delivered on. I'm sorry if my network is breaking, but
It's perfect.
Okay. Okay, the Scrum Master is that pivotal entity within the Scrum teams that ensures that, be it the product owner or the team, are working effectively without any blockers or impediments. They have the knowledge they need, they master the principles. If there are any changes that need to be brought into the team, the Scrum Master makes sure they are handling that on time. And we are equally making sure we are keeping the documentation for every other, be it ceremony or any other form of communications. We have to be on top of that. So I was talking about the ceremonies. I mentioned the daily Scrum, which the Scrum Master, we are not policing that ceremony. Again, we are not policing it. We are just we are facilitating the session, making sure the teams are actually, represented, they are present and taking part within those ceremonies. And all what has to be achieved within those ceremonies are achieved, and we are taking down notes. And I mean, that's just it. So we have the Scrum Masters has to make sure they are facilitating the daily Scrum, the sprint planning, the sprint retrospective, the sprint demo first of all, and the sprint retrospective. And before that, before any start of the sprint, we are making sure we are working with the product owners to have a kind of backlog refinement session where we are analyzing all the stories or all the work that we have within the product owner's backlog, such that before we pull them into the sprint, the team understands what they have to produce. They have understood this work item that is about to be pulled into the sprint, and they have sized them so that before the sprint begins, I am making sure, or we are making sure as Scrum Masters, that the team has understood, they have sized their work, and the work is ready to be pulled into the sprint. A sprint of, it could be 1 week, 2 weeks. In my case, it's a 2 weeks cadence. So I am making sure my team is able to deliver within a 2 weeks cadence, and we are showcasing and displaying what we are able to produce to our customers and receiving feedbacks. And the sprint retrospective, which is very important that we are making sure we don't skip on that, is that session where we engage the team to speak up and tell us what actually went well during the sprint, what didn't go well. And this is where the concept of agile lives, because we are able to identify certain challenges or problems or issues that we encountered during our previous sprint, and then we are committing to making changes in order to better our future sprints. So the Scrum Master is essentially everywhere, but not working alone, working as a team, to make sure that the company is actually producing valuable products.
Amazing. I love that. I love that. At this juncture, you have kind of
Thank you.
you've taken us you've taken us through what you do as a professional, how you add value to the organization, some of the issues that you face, with transformation, which is regular with every transformation. We've heard your perspective. We've we now understand how you add value. At this juncture, I'd like to invite also, my co-facilitator onto the stage as well, Maria. We call her the Lady Maria. Hi, Maria,
Hi.
you're on mute. Maria basically, oh, sorry, please go ahead.
Hey, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Awesome.
Yes, Maria is a member of the Glappy Village as well, and she also co-facilitates sessions like this with me. So, Maria, are there any questions that you may have, as it relates for our guest here, Juliana, as it
Um,
relates her journey?
Juliana shared like a lot of golden nuggets today, I think. My background is actually coaching. My dad's a football coach, and I grew up around sports. I was a strength and conditioning coach and a lacrosse coach. And the thing that I love about Agile and about Scrum is that it really lends itself to all of those things of what it means to like really build a cohesive team. So it's really cool because what you came on here to talk about is what I'm really into. So I would say, what are some of your experiences about like when people don't want to make the changes, or like when people kind of like butt heads? How do you help them overcome and get to working together?
Awesome. Thank you, Maria. Yeah, one of the techniques I've used, and this is within one of my journey as a Scrum Master, I did have a team that was very resistant with change. It wasn't the entire team. It was just a subset of the team. So what I did was, first of all, I could read it. I saw this resistance. It was, you know, public, within one of our sessions. So what I did was I waited for the general session to be over, and at the back end I had to ping this individual, personally on Teams, like, hey, do you have a moment, can we chat? And they wanted to know why. I was like, there was a couple of issues we were mentioning during our parking lot issue, and there's just this particular one I want us to address. Do you have a couple of minutes? We can hop on a quick call and kind of discuss about that. And they were like, okay, they will be free in about 20 minutes. And that wasn't an issue. After within 20 minutes, I reached out. I used the open for a brief call, and they were like, yes. So we got onto a brief call, and I had to ask this person. So there was this thing we brought up during the parking lot issue, and you were very resistant about it. Do you want to tell me why? I just wanted to know, try to find the root cause. Try to know from where this person, their thinking, their perspective. What is it they're thinking? How are they approaching, or how are they welcoming such situations before you as a Scrum Master now coach? Because most of the times is because there is a lack of knowledge somewhere. And usually there is just this kind of like assumption thinking mindset, or because you heard something from this person or this place, but you haven't done any reading, you haven't done any learning about it. So we always have those pushbacks. So when I had this conversation with this developer of mine, and I got to understand that, okay, this person was clueless about what he was actually resisting about. I had to talk him through, and I shared with him certain materials, and I taught him how this works. And it was all about the concept of estimation. So this person wasn't really, grasping the notion about estimation. I had to explain it's all about the complexity of the entire work. So you have the time, you have the risk, you have the dependencies, you have just everything within. It's not just you putting a number somewhere and feel like, oh, this work is too large or it's too small. No, that's not how you go about it. So when I brought up with all the documents that I shared with this person, they were amazed. The next day during our daily scrum, they were the ones now coding, one of the documents or materials I had shared with them, to the team, mentioning, oh, this and this is how we should go about it and stuff like that. So most of the times pushback is because it's mostly due to lack of knowledge. But the way we can approach it is always like, step back, pull in your teach them so that they understand and they can be at the same page with you and the team. So that was how I resolved one of those issues which I had during my role as a Scrum Master in one of my teams.
No, that's awesome. And I think that my favorite stories, my favorite coaching stories all come back to the ones who are most resistant or a little bit hard to work with at first. They always become just some of my favorite stories, because in that journey of creating trust and building trust and rapport with people, it's a very special thing. And then when you do get to that moment of everybody really gelling and you find the cohesion, it becomes you're just able to work at a capacity that you weren't before, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes. I love it.
That's good. Thank you, Maria.
Yes, of course.
Beautiful. So this is an exciting conversation, and I was wondering if the audience has any questions for you at this point. Let's see. Francis asked a question here. He says, "What are the tools you use to measure or appreciate the value that you bring to the team? How do you measure value?" That's what he's trying to ask.
Okay. One of my most amazing tool I use have usually been the metrics tools, like the burn down chart. First of all, this is what I do at the end of each sprint. I will pull up burn down chart reports, and I will showcase that to the team, and I will always appreciate them. Oh, this is what we had planned at the start of the sprint. It was worth maybe 95 story points. We were able to accomplish maybe 55 story points. I'll be like, we did great. Although we didn't hit the target, we didn't hit what we initially planned. At least we did, a little bit average, above average. And but what we should do now, this is a retrospective topic. What we should do is to try to plan to capacity. But usually that is these are some of the metrics I use to appreciate my team, because they can see physically or transparently their results, their outcomes during the sprint. And then now during the retro section, the retrospective session, we can now brainstorm and talk of some of those challenges that we ran into, that did not enable us complete or finish our stories. So hope I answered your question, Francis.
Yes, apparently you did. And then he just said, I think he was excited about the response. He talked about Coach B's spirit, permeating the work we do. Thank you very much, Francis. Thank you very much, Coach B, for your support and guidance. We really appreciate that. So we have something for you, Juliana. Thank you very much for sharing your story, your exciting journey
Thank
with
you.
us as a Scrum Master team. We do apologize that we spent about 16 minutes trying to figure, this out. We would have been able to take more questions, but at this juncture, we would like to, hand the mic over to Maria. Maria has something packaged for us. Maria is going to be discussing, team dynamics, and she want to spend the remaining time to actually, share something exciting for the audience. So let's see what Maria has for us.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to key up the presentation, but this lends perfectly to everything that Juliana was talking about today. You know what, Russell? Am I able to share? I see
Yes.
present. Is it
Yes, you
able?
can.
Am I able to screen share? Oh, share screen. Okay.
Yes.
So if you could let me know when you guys see my screen, that would be great.
Yes, we can.
And it's big. Do I need to
No.
expand my page at all?
Nothing else. Nothing.
Okay, perfect. So you're seeing a slide that reads Laughing Village, and let me see. Now, are you guys seeing a slide that says group dynamics in agile environments?
Yes.
All right, perfect. If at any point something gets quirky, just stop me. So as I shared with you guys, my backgrounds are teams and making teams efficient and understanding how to help them to work together to find that sweet spot to where everyone can get the most accomplished. So what I did was I put together a group of slides. We're going to talk about group dynamics in agile environments, emphasizing individuals and interactions. So we are all familiar with the Agile Manifesto, and we're going to talk about the very first bullet point, individuals and interactions over processes and tools, because a lot of people and a lot of companies fail to understand that the team is greater over everything. If you have a group of people who can work strongly together as a team, you're going to get those outcomes that you're looking for, that you're striving for. And when you understand how teams work and how you can put people in your team over some of the priorities, you'll understand how to get them working more closely together. So quickly, what are group dynamics? It's interactions within groups, within teams. It's how individuals influence and how you are influenced. And this impacts team performance and it impacts your team outcomes. Why is it important in Agile settings especially? Well, because Agile prioritizes being adaptable. It prioritizes collaboration. Your team success depends on your team's effective communication. It depends on your ability to minimize conflict. Navigating group dynamics ensures efficiency and value delivery. Now, a guy named Bruce Tuckman back in the 60s came up with the 4 stages of group. And I think what's so cool about this is once you learn it, you'll find that every group of people that you work with, every team that you are a part of and work on, they all move through these stages of group. You'll even work through these stages of group in your friends group. There are 4. They're called forming, storming, norming, performing. So how do we get to the place where we could be like these group of guys happy taking a photo together, guys and gals? Well, first we have to start to form. This is the initial stage of group. It's where you're getting to know each other. Your team members are typically polite. You keep your thoughts and your comments to yourself, so you're probably avoiding conflict. But there's a type of uncertainty about roles and expectations. What's your role in this group of people? What's your role on this team? What are my expectations for my team members? What are the expectations of my team members of me? And so it's kind of like the first day of school. It's when everyone's looking pretty, acting pretty. And then you transition to the new stage, the stage of resistance, the stage that Juliana talked about quite often today, where we start to storm. This is where conflicts and power struggles emerge. And I think this is what's important to understand. Conflict is a very healthy part of the human experience, and it's necessary. It's very necessary. In every group, there will always be 1 or 2 people that poses a point of resistance, whether it's a disagreement, whether it's a different thought. And that's because personalities and ideas just naturally collide. We're all different. We all have different strengths and weaknesses. So you want to be cognizant of, when my team is in this stage, how do I help propel them forward? What can I do to get them out of this stage? And the next stage is where we're now sitting in a room, and now we're starting to gel. We're starting to get on the same page. We're starting to work together. This is called norming. Your team starts to find common ground. Roles and responsibilities become clear. You kind of know your place on the team, okay, what your job is. You start to discover resolutions to conflicts. Your team collaboration starts to work effectively. And then when this happens, this is a football play. Okay, you draw up a play and your team starts to work the play. They perform. You're in sync. Your efforts are efficient and productive. You have clearly defined roles. You have improved collaboration. I'm going to move to the next slide. Why does this matter? Because team collaboration leads to innovation, and strong relationships foster trust. Another important thing to understand about teams and about group dynamics change when a new person enters a group and when a new person or when a current group member leaves a group. So these dynamics are fluid. It's not that once you're out of the storming phase, you're fine. It's that you move through all of these stages continuously. And that's why as a Scrum Master, it's important to understand dynamics and get to know your people, understand how they work, understand what motivates them, what drives them, leverage strengths, celebrate differences, right? Celebrate strengths and identify growth opportunities. So what are elements of effective teams? Juliana mentioned it. Clear communication, respect, shared goals, faster problem solving, and increased trust. When your team can trust each other, that's when you know like what you're doing is working. What are some barriers? Lack of trust, unclear role and responsibilities, poor communication. And I think that it's important to understand that just because somebody's put on your team and just because you're in the role of a Scrum Master, they don't automatically just have to trust you. You don't automatically get your respect. It really does need to be earned because it's the team over me. That's why there's the cliche quotes, there is no I in team. There's another one that we talk about a lot in football called some guys could be big me, little team, meaning putting themselves and their priorities over the greater good of the team. You really need to earn that and build that with people, and that takes time. So I think as a Scrum Master, in whatever role that you're on, whether you're a Scrum Master or not, like kind of like continually take opportunities to reflect on what stage is your team in, because faster feedback, when you can identify this, you can progress faster as a team, right? And so the role of a Scrum Master, you're facilitating interactions and you're addressing group dynamics as Juliana did. When there is resistance, you want to confront it in the right way and you want to address it. You don't want to let it fester and lead to more problems, okay? How do you overcome barriers in tech in Agile? Well, the Agile methodologies are just in and of themselves, they're a framework that lends itself to overcoming barriers. That's why we have daily stand-ups. That's why we're communicating regularly. Another way is have regular retrospectives. That retrospective time is key to help people understand how to move forward, right? Pair programming, but the methodology lends itself to that. So make sure you're doing them. And then other ways, take a step back. Like one of the things that I like that Juliana did when she had to talk with one of her team members is she didn't do it right away. The team member said, hey, we could talk in 20 minutes. Great. She was able to take a step back, a deep breath, reassess the situation. The coworker was able to, and then they came back to it at a time where there was less pressure, where there was more of an opportunity to be open, because what you don't want to do is when you have a resistant team member who, again, it comes back to trust. When they're not trusting, you want to create an environment where they feel safe, where they feel secure, where they feel like they can begin to trust you. And then other ways is you want to incorporate like small team building activities into your retrospectives. Let each other get to know one another, right? And then reestablish your team goals. So what are the key takeaways? Individuals and interactions over processes and tools. The team trumps. It's all about the team. You want to address challenges proactively. You want to continually inspect and adapt team processes. It doesn't end. You do it continuously. And then the big important key here is the critical phase of conflict and resolution is when you're going from storming to norming. So you, just like a healthy body, if you identify cancer, you want to treat the cancer. You don't want to let the cancer just grow and get bigger. So when you do have resistance and conflict in your group, you want to get to it quick because you want to protect the team and the team culture. And that is all that I have to say. And I'm back.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That was a quick one. So I'm glad that Maria, one of the things we are trying to do also was to ensure that the story that Juliana is sharing, which is her life experience on the field as a transformation professional, Maria's presentation can marry that and be able to say, this is theory and this is practical. So Juliana shared practicals, Maria shared theory. And this is our approach basically here within Iglapi Village. So at every point in time, educate. We are freely sharing our knowledge with experts and getting experts to share back with these communities to help build communities of change agents who are helping to add value to the bottom line of the organizations they serve. Juliana, are there any final words you'd like to share, before we call it a day?
Awesome. That was amazing. Thank you, Maria, for putting that together, and hope the audience was well edified.
Okay, we lost Juliana for a second.
Okay, but what is most important is for us to have this education. It's for us to be informed. It's for us to have the mastery of all these concepts, so that despite whatever changes or anti-patterns we may see happening within our environment, we are able to speak, confidently on, what it should be. So thank you so much for doing that. Thank you for having me. It was awesome. Thank you.
Beautiful. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be seeing you next week, same time next week. Next week, we are going to be meeting with Rupinda. Rupinda Panu is an 18-year veteran of change, an 18-year veteran of change. She has worked with a couple of airlines, a couple of large entertainment companies, and she's going to be coming here to share her experience as being an enterprise coach. She's going to be sharing this stage with us as well. I'm going to be here. Maria is going to be here. The rest of the crew is going to be here. We are going to be talking about change, talking about transformation. And then if you are interested basically in becoming a change agent, do not hesitate to reach out to us. We at the Glappy Village, we have a community of over 300 professionals, collaborating, working, and sharpening our skills. What we are trying to do, ladies and gentlemen, is to develop what we call the pie shape competence, deepening our skills in DevOps, software engineering, product management, Scrum Masters. We are developing that skill so that we can get to the very, what we call the cutting edge of our careers and add value to the organizations we serve. We're looking forward to having you here next week, Thursday. Maria, any final words?
No final words for me. Thanks, Juliana. Thanks, Russell. Thanks for having me. I'll be
Boom.
back.
Thank you. Thank you
And we
all
are
for
on time.
joining.
Thank you. Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.